We are live and drunk on social. I think we've got a few participants joining us in Zoom, so welcome. And we are going to talk today about why in the hell you should be paying attention to Clubhouse. So Tristan and I did a webinar on this, a week or 2 weeks ago. We've now been playing with it. In fact, Tristan and I just got off one like 30 minutes ago, which was really awesome. And now we don't want you to take it from us. We want you to take it from the people that are using it way better than we are and actually getting traction from it. So ladies, welcome Tessa Bella-Gelton, Brittany Howard. By the way, Brittany Howard's like the OG. And then Tessa is just, her strategy blew my mind when we did one together. Ladies, let's start by having you introduce yourselves. Brittany, why don't you start?
Sure. Hey, I'm Brittany Howard. I think I introduced myself on Clubhouse as, hey girl, hey. So I am Brittany Howard. I am in the Baton Rouge area. Been an agent now almost 6 years. Have known Tristan 5 of those 6, maybe 6 of those 6 almost. And I've known Tessa 3 or 4 years. And Jeff, he's the newbie. I've only known him like 3 years. So I sell houses like the rest of us. So that's it.
Welcome, Tessa.
Awesome. What's up, everyone? I actually got introduced to everyone because of Brittany, who found me, I think, on Instagram. So this all connects pretty darn well. But my name is Tessa Bella. I'm in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. I began my real estate journey as an investor at the young age of 18. I had no money. Actually, funny enough, flipping my first house, my personal water got shut off at my own house, but made it work and then transitioned into growing a real estate team, ran a team of 23 agents. We were the official real estate partner of the NBA's Phoenix Suns, all the while doing digital marketing. So I have a digital marketing agency in the real estate space. We work with all kinds of agents, investors, and TV celebrities. So a lot of the real estate folk you see on HGTV and Bravo, most of them are our clients. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. And look who happened to join us. Mr. Zach Faust. I always like to introduce you by your real name, but I'll let you introduce yourself as your fake name. And let me just say, I don't know if I can speak for Brittany and Tessa, but I met Zach as a result of Clubhouse. I don't know about the same. Okay, so awesome. Zach, why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll get going.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Zachary Faust. Go by Zachary Loft on social media. 1.5 million on TikTok. I'm a social media enthusiast, real estate broker owner here in Delaware, and avid speaker, coach, consultant. I just love being able to spread positivity and social media knowledge across anyone who's willing to listen. Really, so appreciate you having me on.
I love it, man. I love it. So, I'm just going to let Tristan interject when he wants, because whenever he puts himself on mute, I know that means he wants me to just run with this. We've done this a time or two. So, all right, guys, we are most, I think, of our audience, between the 4 or 5 of us and others, we've been sharing a lot about Clubhouse, probably too much, as some might say, like my post the other day that pinging is the new spamming. It was kind of a joke. It was actually Tristan's line. I just stole it and posted it.
Yeah, after gave him shit, y'all. Because Jeff, I see you all the time. You never come. And Tristan doesn't come.
Well, I mean, I literally get pinged, and we're gonna go into this. I want these guys to talk about the platform, but I literally get pinged, and I think you guys can say the same. 24 hours a day, like it does not stop. Middle of the night, pings. It doesn't matter. There's pinging happening all the time.
I had to turn off my notifications on Saturday because I was like, I need to get off of here. And I don't usually keep many of my notifications on my phone on general because it can be so distracting, like for Instagram, for any of those things. But Clubhouse, I've been leaving it on because there's so much opportunity and it happens so fast. As if enough of social media wasn't already driving our short-term attention span into the ground. I think Clubhouse even more so because there's all these conversations going on and it can change so quickly. You can jump from one room to another. And by the time you come back, it's like completely different, totally different subject. You missed it all.
Exactly right. And you guys have heard Tristan and I describe what we call, how we would describe it. I'd like each one of you to take just 60 seconds, explain to the audience how you would describe Clubhouse. We'll start with Britt.
So for me, Clubhouse is kind of an interactive podcast. What I mean by that is, you know how you're driving in your car and you can hear people speak on a subject. For example, I've heard Tessa and Zach both speak. And if you have questions, the only way to reach them is via email, or you can DM them for sure, right? On Clubhouse, I can raise my hand, kind of interrupt and say, hey, I have a question about this. How do you do this? How do you do that? What about this? What about that? Um, People are probably, it feels like they're a lot kinder on Clubhouse than they are in real life on Facebook and things like that. Because if you DM someone, they really will like come back and answer your questions. It's like a social scene. Like I did a talent show the other night, which is like random, but we could like change our profile pictures to a yes or a no. And so we were voting for people, and somebody's going to be on some radio station for $1,000. It was so cool. I was like, I love this. So I have fun on it, but of course I'm in the South. COVID is also real, and I did not realize how much I missed talking to my friends around the nation, how much I missed the masterminding aspect of real estate. Since Clubhouse, I have probably, oh my gosh, I have been on fire. I have met lenders, I have met investors. It's great for networking. It's bigger than just a social media platform for me.
Agreed. Tessa, what's your take? How would you describe it?
I would say that for me, I think of Clubhouse as like virtual focus groups and micro conferences. And just to Brittany's point, like 2019, I was traveling every other week. I was on a different stage in a different city. Love speaking, love conferences. I love that energy, especially with the little breakout rooms and stuff like that, like at Inman. And so this kind of feels very similar to that, but in a virtual place. And to Brittany's point, in a format that allows more people to really contribute or just listen if you want to. Like you can sit, be a fly on the wall and take in so much incredible info without being a little afraid that someone's going to call you up on stage without your notice, because that's happened. You know that feeling when you're at a conference and you're like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact. But if you want to interact and engage, it's probably the easiest platform to communicate with some of the biggest people, biggest entrepreneurs, influencers, and value providers across, the internet right now. It's the easiest way to get to them. And I think it's also providing, it's like a new discovery of talent. I've been in there and there've been some rooms and I'm hearing somebody speak and just drop such incredible information. And I click on them, they've got like 50 followers on Clubhouse, click on their Instagram, they've got like 100 followers on Clubhouse or on Instagram. And I'm like, where have you been? This is gold. This is the kind of person that should be up on a stage somewhere. So it's cool to see new discovery of talent as well. Because in traditional conference, sometimes you see a lot of the same people over and over and over, which is great, but it's cool to see some fresh young bloods on there.
Like Zach Faust, huh? Buddy, what is your take? What is your take on Clubhouse?
So I'm a very positive guy, but I think, first of all, I take it in the pessimistic view of if we're on MySpace or we're on Facebook, whether we're on Vine or we're on TikTok, it'll be very interesting to see whether or not this is the predecessor to the successful social media platform that is audio only, or whether we're playing on the app that's going to end up owning it. So it'll be very interesting to see. I think right now it's basically like beta Twitter, like early Twitter, where the access is unmatched. I've said it before, where I got to listen to Grant Cardone, Jim Quick, and Ty Lopez argue about real estate in front of Soulja Boy at 9 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday and on my couch. And I was just like, this is weird. This is really, and that was like my first day on. I'm like, what is this? And the access and I'd say the raw knowledge. I think people are figuring it out more day by day. They'll figure out the way to funnel people. They'll figure out a way to sell people. I know there's a Shark Tank angle that's taking on. There's Brittany talking about a talent show. I've seen a lot of people get really creative. And my only pessimism to the long term, there's two. My only pessimism toward the long term value of it is when it goes public. Right now, the invitation only has allowed for like-minded people to invite each other onto the app. And a lot of them are people that they see of value that love to learn and network. So you're getting a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of independent contractors, a lot of people that are looking to grow and have similar mindsets. And that's leading to this blissful, everyone's nice, everyone loves each other type thing. But there's going to be a time where it goes public, and it'll be interesting to see how that's utilized, whether or not the people who are in it early have a certain follower count, get speaking rights while everyone else is subject to the audience unless otherwise brought on, whether or not it becomes like pay for certain rooms. I'd love to see how they're going to end up monetizing it, because at the end of the day, they have to make money for it to be viable. And that's why MySpace and Vine died, because they weren't making money. So it'll be interesting.
I totally agree. And what you said brings up a good point. So for those of you paying attention today and you're on the fence, or you've been on it but haven't really been in it, early adopters tend to get the most out of anything. Same with TikTok. Zach is a great example of that. If you adopted early and were creating content, the virality was very possible. And as time goes on, it becomes much harder. Same with Instagram. I don't know where Tessa went, but when Tessa comes back, she can share that as well. Is that it's really hard to grow these platforms once the algorithm kind of matures, and that's essentially what's going to happen here. But when we call this a social app, and before we get it too much deeper, I want to stay basic here for those who don't know, who really want to know why this matters to their business. Like, I don't consider it a social app when you think of it in terms of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. It's different. Maybe it's kind of LinkedIn-ish, but totally different. How would either one of you kind of break that down? How would you articulate what it is? And I know Tessa said it. It's like breakout rooms. But when it comes to social media, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is, in fact, social media, or do you think it's just a glorified conference?
I feel it's not a glorified conference. I feel it's the Saturday evening after the conference happy hour in digital format. That's the only like one I've heard that I'm like, that kind of nails it.
Yeah. I was telling Tristan, I was like, dude, you should come here. And he was like, what is Clubhouse? I was like, you know how
Tristan, I'm trying to get our boy Tom on there, and Tom's like, oh, I'm like, dude, like, you need to get on there, Mr. Ferry. I see you're on the aren't you on the docket to speak at Elite?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm telling Tristan, I'm like, Tristan, you know how, like, after the conference, not while you're in the breakout rooms, but after, you all go sit down at dinner and you have drinks. Tristan doesn't drink, but everybody else, when you have your drinks and you're sitting down and you're just talking and you're like, hey, what did you feel about this? Hey, I heard so-and-so is good at that. Yep. It feels exactly like a round table. What is it called? Around the fire? I don't know what that's called.
Like the bonfire? Fireside chat. Yep. You got the drink in your hand. You got the pretzels you're nibbling on, and you're all just sharing gems.
Yep. You're like eating s'mores, singing Kumbaya.
Yeah. That's the problem, though, I feel with it. And I'm starting to kind of, and I don't know if anyone else is noticing, kind of a leveling off. Seemed like it was growing insanely, and it's kind of leveling off a little bit. I don't think it's leveling off in the form of less people are getting on. I think the same rate of people are getting on. I feel people that are on are starting to get off as more people are going on, and then they're kind of just slowly replacing themselves. Because I think people are getting like just brain mushed, because you're right. Like, these people are getting on stage. They don't have an 8-hour day to disseminate content. This is basically just cliff notes, headlines, boom. Like, it's just so much information that I know when I spent my first week, I'm just like, I've learned more in this week than I might have learned in 2 or 3 years.
So true.
But he is like, so not kidding. I have pages and pages of notes.
It's insane.
Between Zach and Tessa, poor Jeff has been trying to get me to use video for years now, and I just didn't get it. And Zach was like, I was like, listen, I need you to break down the math. I was like, this is not working. I do not understand any of this. He was like, do this, this, and this, and this for Instagram. And I'm like, what? That's it? And he's like, yeah, go for that. And I was like, okay. And so I did it, did what he said, kind of used TikTok as a backdoor, since I can't figure out how to edit a video because I'm old. And after I did that, I don't know. I was in a room yesterday. There was Tyrese, Grant Cardone, Chick in a skimpy bathing suit. We're all on the stage, and they were talking more lifestyle almost. They were talking about love, and women were like, they can't find the right guy. So it's super
raw.
Than that, I just think that those of us that were in were kind of we're kind of like, okay, how many times do you need to tell me to get on Instagram? Do you know what I mean?
You know, Vanessa texted me this morning and she said $1,000 says you find your husband on Clubhouse.
I'm telling you that yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna be the new channel.
It might happen, Tessa. It might happen.
Tessa, get off Clubhouse now.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So
Well, I was going to add something. So you mentioned the happy hour after the event, but I'm going to tell you why it's even better than that, because Grant Cardone doesn't show up to the happy hour after the event. And
for the
people
one you
like
pay $2,000 for.
People like that are making themselves very accessible.
The one that Rick Ross is at. The one that Rick Ross is at, he's at.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And so there's that side of it, but then there's the other side of it, which Zach, you just said, people are also leaving. And you know what I think they're leaving? I think it's partial brain mush, but I think it's also partial. They're getting annoyed. We've had conversations, Tristan and I, on the side because the rooms need to be moderated very well. And we talked about this when we did a room the other day. And if you let too many people, quote unquote, on stage and they have a question, but they spend the first 5 minutes talking about themselves, gone, right? I'm out of there. Like, come on, get control of the room.
Or when they go around for intros and everyone's introing themselves for 3.5 minutes with their bio from when they were in kindergarten to how they made it through being homeless to now they're, exactly. You spend an hour introing. And I think that's a part of the learning. Go ahead, Tristan.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't know who I learned it from here, but it was Tessa. She said, let's have organization. Mm-hmm. And she was the first person that really opened it up for me, who said, okay, let's block it out. First 20 minutes, nobody's going to come up for questions. We're going to be talking and we're going to do a giveaway, right, in the form of a PDF. And then we're going to bring up people after. And I thought, oh shit, we can do this? I didn't even think about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's kind of benefits because it is still so new. I know this has been a hot topic of controlling the time frames and stuff like that. I had one room it was one of my first rooms that I hosted on Clubhouse, and it ended up going for like 6 to 8 hours. I forget. I think it was like 7.5 hours. Granted, we were huge. At one point it got to like 500 people. It was incredible conversation. We had some really big people come up on the stage and all this kind of stuff. So I was excited about it. And it was like, I think my first day on Clubhouse. So I was like, wow, this is great. But that led me into realizing, wow, that was as great as that one was. And there are certain circumstances where it makes sense to stick around for longer and keep it open. And, you can kind of judge that. It does definitely need some structure if you're depending on your objectives. If you're there, maybe like Brittany was saying, to attend a talent show and you're just like looking for something to do and kind of hang out, then absolutely keep it open, keep people networking. But for me, I look at it as, how can I use this in my business right now to make intentional connections, to make sure that I'm really progressing my relationships with people, and to make sure that I'm providing massive value. And so for that reason, it has to have some structure. And I found that that's one of the best formats in my experience, is like the first, 20 or 30 minutes are really structured and you're kind of teaching through a lesson or something like that, or at least on topic with your conversations with your fellow moderators. And then it goes into some questions. And yeah, I love having a PDF or something to provide people. Has helped me generate a ton of new leads, but also it helps them. Most people are taking notes. So if you can kind of shortcut that process for them and have it outlined, is great. And I saw somebody pop in the chat even over here that said it would be great if there was a replay button. So that's part of why I think it's so nice to have a PDF, because if you do miss it, or your phone rings, or you remember that you have like a child or a real job outside of Clubhouse, then you can jump back in and kind of pick up where you left off, because you have something to follow, some sort of blueprint. So I think that definitely helps.
And I think that kind of adds to what we said, like the fireside chat, the cocktail hour is, they're not recorded. You're either there or you're not. And I think that's what's leading to such big rooms with consistent attendance, is people have the FOMO, realizing it's not recorded. Or in Tessa, to Tessa's point, which is a beautiful way to solve that, is, hey, you're not going to be here for the first hour. You got the PDF. I followed the same thing. I did a 15-point PDF of my 5 days of social media, and going off of the point of moderation. Moderation's difficult, but so needed. People love structure. They need structure. And I would start the first call, quick fire intros, get it off, get done. And then here are the 4 points we're hitting. At the end of each point, we'll open up to 5 people for Q&A. Then we're back into it. Because you're right, Q&A can take up hours.
And Q&A can take you down such a spiral. I think it was even Tristan and Brittany. I think you and I had a room and someone's in there and she was great. She's got all this stuff to contribute, to a certain degree. Yeah. But then all of a sudden we start talking about like how like women empowerment or something. And I was like, how are we going down this track right now? Or I've seen a lot of rooms that get derailed talking about, sex or race or gender. Yeah.
I haven't been in that room yet.
It can be a little bit delicate if you're not like controlling it.
Haven't been in the sex subreddit yet.
I didn't mean that.
Well, I think, but I also,
there was a midget room earlier on. I was like, what the hell is this?
I think that
you can find everything. The first day I was on, I don't know if it just like said, hey, we dove through your contacts and we think this is what you like. There was like, discreet hookups, best weed.
I had one of those too.
I'm like, what is this app? I almost deleted it right away. I'm like, I don't need this in my life. Like, I'm good. I got a daughter, a wife. I'm happy. I got my weed, man. I don't need your help. I'm good. But I think the fireside chat, the bonfire-like atmosphere, the non-being recorded is the magic of it. I do think we could go probably debate for hours on the monetization side, how they're going to utilize that. But the moderation side of things, it's extremely, extremely important. That's how you keep people in the room. That's how you keep people engaged. Yeah. And I learned it from, I think it was John Lee in one of the rooms. He's been a prominent figure in a lot of the big rooms. When he had someone on for Q&A, of course they have like 2,000 person rooms sometimes. He said, you must start when you unmute, you must start your phrase with "my question is." And so it forces somebody like, okay, my question is, and then from there, if they try to pitch, it's pretty obvious. If they're like, my name is, I sell electronics. And like,
my question is, well, let me give you a quick backstory first. And you're like, no.
Yep. And it gives you much easier fire to stomp out because everyone in the audience can clearly see what's going on. So
well, let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this, because I think a lot of our audience is going to be more on the listener side. I think 95% of the people that go into Clubhouse are going to be listeners. So what's the advice you would get? Well, first of all, for those of the 5% that are moderating, take notes of what they were just talking about. But for the listener, how can they be intentional? How can they get the most value from Clubhouse in your guys' opinion?
Wow, look at you moderating us. That was great. That was a great pivot.
I would take the other definition of moderation. I would go the other definition of moderation is don't try and take in too much information at once. Like we all get we've all been to the summit, the seminar, the weekend getaway, the boot camp, and we come out like, we're going to kill it. And then you don't reach your goal and you're like, oh, I suck. Like, don't, listen to Grant Cardone for 18 hours a day, then transition to Gary Vee and then Jim Quick and then Ty Lopez and be like, okay, cool. These are all billionaires that have been talking in my ear for 48 hours and I'm in my mom's basement. Like, take it in moderation, take the 2 or 3 points and go. As I think
about the long game with that, because it's so true. Like, imagine if you are at Inman and it's this like super heavy information overload for a few days, but you get motivated, you attend a ton of stuff, you're listening to all these people. And then the people who thrive from that are the ones who take that and go implement. They're probably not consuming more information for at least a week or so after that, probably more, maybe less. So same thing is true with Clubhouse. You can get stuck on there and it's like you just are attending 8 hours of conference, but every single day you're never making time for the implementation. So yeah, to Zach's point, just long game. Think about the fact that this is a resource you have. Don't get the FOMO that you're going to miss out on another training. Just take what you can and start putting it into action. Maybe even setting rules for yourself of like, when you hear something good, that you kind of put it out in an action plan, implement it before you dive into another room and start taking in more stuff, like kind of figuring out what that looks like for yourself.
I have a question. I want to go a little round table here. I'll start with Brittany. Here's the questions for all of you, same one. How can we use Clubhouse right now to benefit us, either business, grow our influence, or in any way that you think that we should be using it? Brittany.
So for me, I use the search bar a lot. If I have a question about something, I'll go into a room, raise my hand, and ask it. Like I know a lot about wholesaling now. I had no idea what wholesaling was, and who knew? But
It's
now
being a
I
realtor without a license.
right. But I have like 15 million. You know, they kind of told me what they were looking for, and I'll drop a number for you, Jeff, because I'll drop the number, but it's roughly about 15 million worth of off-market properties that I'm shopping around the nation right now. That would not exist without Clubhouse. So use the search bar a lot.
Very
And
true. All right.
it goes to the bang bang room.
The bang bang room. We don't want to go to those. Jeff.
I'm the moderator interviewer here, man. Although if you want, so I'll be last. Let Zach and Tessa have a go at this.
Zach.
I think there's two. There's knowledge. I don't think there's ever been a better spot to be in the room where it happens, to quote Hamilton, to be able to be the dumbest person in the room, which I love. There's a room out there where you can be the stupidest person in the room, and you're a little egotistical if you think that doesn't exist on Clubhouse. So it exists in real life, but Clubhouse, especially with COVID, makes it accessible. And then on the side of growing a business from our perspective, in the 5% of moderators, is bringing value. I mean, I don't think there's a larger scale of a free platform that's easily accessible where you can pitch your value. You can throw your, I mean, I didn't have a coaching program on my business plan for 2021, and I now have 45 paying clients. So
so it was well needed. Like seriously, what you do and the way you explain it is so different than what I've ever heard.
Because I explain it like a stupid person, because I am. I think everyone tries to explain things. Like they're the subject matter expert. I'm the God. I'm Hercules. I explain it like I'm an idiot, because I am. Because when I came in, I knew nothing. I didn't have a real estate background or a sales background. I didn't have social media 4 years ago. Like, I always was infatuated with the algorithms and the science and the nerd stuff. Like I played Zelda, but like I'm a nerd, my man. I'm a nerd. Like, so I explain it like I'm stupid. Like if I were being explained to 4 years ago, how would I want to be taught?
It's like video. We were just talking about this, where I think the mistake most panels have about video are always the people doing it at the highest levels, which is not relatable to most people. You need to take the people that are doing it at a very micro level, at a simplistic level, at a new level, to really be able to and not feel intimidated. I think that's the biggest problem. And I was going to say that about Clubhouse. It's really easy to get intimidated because you're going on there and listening to a bunch of experts, which by the way, a bunch of them might be total pretenders. That's where you've got to do your homework. You've got to go stalk.
That's why I like that the Instagram is linked.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And then it's another fun fact. Like for me, I didn't do video. I didn't know that I had an issue with it, but the bigger issue was I didn't like the way I would look on camera. I'm like, I wish I had makeup. I wish I had this.
Same.
Well, I'm now a brand influencer for So there you go. Thanks, Zach, for the follows.
It's all good. Listen, I got 7 teeth. They're not the same color. My beard's patchy. I got this little chunk of fat that won't go away since I was 8 years old. My hair looks different every single day. I completely understand. You are preaching to the choir. I'm a Delaware 6. I can't even live in Miami because I would fall below the scale. All right.
That's like Jeff Fargo's when he talks. I love it when he talks about himself.
True.
So like, I mean, you can't like. At the end of the day, what I tell, and I've said it time and time again, when someone sees you at Walmart or Target, if you're bougie, you're going to look the same way. You're going to talk the same way. Like,
I'm different now. Thank you.
I love it.
But seriously, the brand influencer thing came from Clubhouse. I jumped in a room. I was like, what the heck is that? I was like, I heard about that. I Googled it. So I was able to go on a Clubhouse and ask questions. And a local makeup artist was like, she's looking for a brand influencer. I'm like, I don't know if I have enough followers, but I'm seeing I'm growing. The analytics look good. So I contacted her. Makeup for every video I shoot now. So, and she was like, tag me on social media. I was like, you have no idea. So it's super cool.
I love it. Well, Tristan, since Tessa's not come back, I guess I'll give my answer.
Yeah, go shoot, buddy.
I think that So again, two different perspectives. Zach broke it down pretty good. It's either you're a learner and a listener, or you're an influencer who wants to gain more followers and grow influence, right? So I look at it from the latter. Um, I will say, ironically, I'm wearing this shirt today, which is a mastermind that I belong to and have paid a lot of money to be a part of. And I'm very thankful to be a part of it. So I feel like I have a competitive advantage over most of the world because I get to connect with these people in this group right here, which is a plug, I guess, for Closing Table right now. And so I go on there very intentionally. So like Brittany says, she pings me, I ignore her. It's not because I'm ignoring Brittany. I'm ignoring the app because otherwise it'll probably get me divorced because I'll spend too much time there. So I'm using it as a place to be intentional, to be a part of a panel, to be a moderator, to share. And when I do that, I pick up followers every single time. On Instagram, by the way, I get meaningful DMs. I've made meaningful relationships with people like Zach. And that's why I think the app is pretty damn incredible, if you ask me. And I will also use this to plug. There's not everybody that agrees with us. And I'm going to say this a couple of times before we finish. We're going to do another webinar on Thursday afternoon with the Ed Stulak, who has been very loud about why Clubhouse does not have a place in this world. And we're going to get his take because there's no right or wrong take on this.
Do we get to be on and bully him while you do it?
We haven't decided that yet.
I would like to be, please.
That would be awesome to have you guys on too, because we're all like so Clubhouse right now.
Like Tristan has heard me for years, and
wait, Ed Stulak, the TikTok, get me on there. I'll bully the heck out of this dude. The mortgage guy, what? Oh man, I'll rip him apart. I'll rip him to shreds.
He's a realtor.
You know what? Hold on.
Maybe, he's a real.
Maybe we should do Ed versus Zach with little boxing gloves on
his TikTok is the realtor of TikTok. I had to rip him apart for that. I said, no, I'm the most followed realtor here on TikTok, bro. We're good. We're tight now, but
I love that.
Oh, let me rip him.
And I can use my moderator voice. Come on, y'all.
You know what? I think this is the regular 5. I love this.
We're the Fab 5.
You said that last name. I'm like, I know that name. I know that pretty face. Yeah. 100%.
I know. It's so for me, I find it comical, right? That if you're going to say, don't get on Clubhouse, you have realtors saying, don't get on TikTok, right? So Zach, Jeff have both made, and honestly, Cece too, have made amazing businesses and gotten business from TikTok. I still don't understand TikTok. It's okay, I'm learning. I don't even care anymore. Like I got drunk one night last week and I have like 50 million TikToks and I watched them again and was cracking myself up laughing. There's one about a Christmas tree, okay, y'all, that's still up in the house. But I think it's comical to say just because it doesn't work for you doesn't mean it won't work for someone, right? That's just like saying I won't cold call, I'll door knock. That makes no sense to me. That's
I agree.
Whatever, 5,500.
Well, and that was the point. That's the point of this webinar too.
A Clubhouse call with me.
We want to educate the Drunk on Social following, and for anybody who's just interested in knowing like why. And so we figured, you know what, don't just hear it from us. I can't necessarily speak for Tristan, but I can kind of speak for Tristan. Our goal when it comes to social media is to just be out ahead. Whether we want to be on a platform or not, we're going to be there because we're going to test it out because we're going to bring it back to you. So hopefully people like Brittany keep bringing it to us ahead of time. Like my teenagers brought me TikTok. Tristan was on TikTok before we even knew it was TikTok. That's what's so funny. He actually showed it to me the first time at Closing Table. I remember that with Kevin Marcarian. That was so funny. We didn't even know what the hell you were doing. I thought you were doing a boomerang or something.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing either.
So funny.
I'm not a big fan of TikTok, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
1.5 million followers.
I know.
No, I'm being dead serious. I don't push people to be on TikTok. I really don't. Because if it's not your personality, it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. You can go write blogs on LinkedIn and be super successful. You can do that. You could still be tweeting. Like you can do your thing. My problem is people who dog on other people's thing. That's my thing. Like there are people who run podcasts and get leads. There are people who make TikToks and get leads. My biggest thing is just be open to things like Clubhouse, to things like TikTok, to when they're in their infancy, trying them. Just try them. When there's a new sauce at your local wing spot, you're going to try it. When there's a new social media platform, try it. The worst that's going to happen is it's going to go away. I'm not asking you to throw 36,000 at Bitcoin. You can have your opinions on that. That's fine. But if Bitcoin's $5, buy a few.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? It could go up to 36,000 and you'll buy me some drinks. And that's with TikTok. I got on for the memes and then boom. Same thing could happen to Clubhouse, or the next one called Audio Fox could come around and take over the world. We don't know.
I don't even know why I got on Clubhouse. I downloaded the app. People were like,
Tim Macy sent me an invite, and we don't even talk too much. He's a realtor down in Texas. He does great on YouTube. He hit me up, said, "Man, you need to be on Clubhouse. You can talk." And I'm like, "I know. Is that your way of saying I have a face for radio?" I know, but
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and then I got on for his 15 minutes. There's a bunch of jugs and girls, and I was like, this might not be the vibe. But Tessabella, we were just talking about how we're all going to delete Clubhouse together and go back to MySpace.
That's funny.
Oh, no. I'm trying to find my husband. Are you kidding?
MySpace is where it's at. I'm pretty sure Tom on MySpace is still friending everybody.
Well, before we wrap up, Tessa, I want you to kind of share some thoughts since you left us to go probably tend to your future husband.
Yes. What,
so go on. Not really. I mean, we were kind of talking about really just the best advice you would give to someone, the best why they should use it, really. And actually, you know what I would like you to share is you mentioned your strategy about sharing a link, sharing a PDF, which is a lead capture, right? So for an agent who says, okay, I want to go learn a little bit, but I actually want to try to gain something from this, how would you advise someone to gain from it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been thinking a lot about this recently because it's come up a few times. Agents have been, asking, they're like, okay, I see these speakers or coaches or trainers who are doing really well on this platform. How could I use it as an agent? And I think there's a lot of different ways. One being building your real estate agent network, your referral network. So there's one room that's hosted daily. That's the real estate agent lounge or something like that. Broker lounge. That one's awesome. And there's people that hang out in there, but that could be something you do as an agent, is that you host a room where people come in and they give their 3 points on how they manage clients or whatever it is. Cause I know when I send referrals to agents elsewhere, the biggest thing I like to know, more than, I don't care about your sales volume necessarily, I don't care about all this other stuff. I want to know that your personality is going to kind of jive with my clients in the way that mine does. I want to know that aligns. I run business in a certain way. And if I send somebody who is very cut and dry and by the book and very professional, then that's going to be a huge pattern interrupt for the person that I just nurtured, that lead that I just cultivated. So that could be a huge tool for you as an agent, is building those relationships, finding your people, or connecting other agents and building a really robust referral network would be an awesome one. And I would say another thing is generalized information. So I had an agent in Las Vegas who I was helping build out her funnels and just kind of build a more cohesive brand. And one of the biggest things that we were working through is that she was about to move to North Carolina. And that's a huge move. And so she was looking for some ways that she could build a big brand online, be capturing people, but that would also align with moving across the country. And so she started to brand herself as a relocation specialist, and we created these ebooks, all these trainings, different stuff for her around generalized information about relocating. It was great because she can tie it into her personal story, but it's also a really hot topic right now. People moving state to state, relocating based on, restrictions in their area from COVID or whatever it is. So that could be something too. Maybe you host a relocation room, because then the people getting in there, they can be from anywhere around the United States and they'll still benefit from it. So I think about topics that anyone could benefit from, not just how to buy a house in Scottsdale, because that would be pretty limited, right? I could only have so many people in that room. I'd want it to be something that's a lot more specific information. And still having a call to action. If you're relocating, reach out to me. I'll send you my guide, or I'll connect you with one of my agents who I've met through Clubhouse, because I host this room where we have a big referral network, something like that.
It'll be interesting to see if the hyper local marketing ability will shift on Clubhouse in any way, shape, or form. like if I'm able to click Delaware and find Delaware hosts and rooms. But that'll be interesting if that happens, because as of right now, as a realtor, the best is just what you said, getting those agent to agent referrals of people you know, love, and trust, and are like you.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Do you guys have any, you guys want to wrap up with any little summary with just a takeaway about if anybody's thinking about Clubhouse or, you know, whatever? I
would say get on there and do what you can to connect with people, whether you go in and share on rooms or not. Like even just, I do my best to always get back to DMs, but it's challenging. So when I have somebody who's DMing me now and they're like, hey, I just saw you on Clubhouse, would love to get that PDF you mentioned or whatever. These are priority people because I know they just tuned into some information. I want to connect with them. I go in and I'm networking and I'm sending voice messages and I'm helping them with stuff back and forth. So take advantage of that. I know I'm not the only speaker on Clubhouse that's doing that. I have people that are these big names that if you otherwise would have DM'd them, they maybe wouldn't have got back to you as quickly, versus now, if you're like, hey, just saw you on Clubhouse, you're hot in their mind, they're thinking about it. You can connect with people in such a big way. The opportunities are endless. When I just jumped off for a second for a call, that's because Ryan Serhant is trying to grow his brand on Clubhouse and he has no clue what to do. So they asked me to co-host a room with him next week so that he can get introduced to Clubhouse. Okay. So that's an opportunity because I've been on Clubhouse. I happen to know his team a little bit, but they saw that I've been, doing stuff on there. So reached out because of that. So take advantage, especially of like new movers, fast action takers on a fresh app and make your connections, because this is the time to do it.
So you're saying Ryan Serhant is your future husband? Is that how I interpreted that?
No, I think he's very happily married with the most adorable baby in the world, but maybe he's got some friends for me. We'll see.
There you go. Zach, your takeaway or your just final thought?
I don't know how many new social medias need to get thrown in people's faces for them to understand that being early is the most effective way to jump onto a platform. And the last thing, and you don't have to put any effort in the Clubhouse. If you just want to sit and listen and mooch off of other people's followers because you jump on stage because you know them, you don't need to know how to post a picture. You don't need to know what kind of video to make. You don't need any of that. Just get on early before everybody's on there. I was on TikTok when everyone thought it was a bunch of 12-year-olds dancing, and now it's one of the four cornerstones really of social media, and everyone else is trying to get on the bandwagon with YouTube Shorts and Reels and all that. Just get on early.
Yeah, got nothing to lose. Britt, what are your final thoughts?
Go to learn. Like when you go to the conferences, there's always one thing you can take. So every week, decide what your one thing is, or if you don't understand it, go back until you decide, because you can always ask questions. I'm in it for the long run. I never knew I'd like it because I don't like my voice at all, but nobody can see my crazy faces. Go on, learn, implement what you learn. Everything that people say to you at conferences is true in Clubhouse. Go take away your value and implement it. Go crush.
Or just stay off of Clubhouse so that we can reap all the benefits. That too. That's cool. Fine. That's fine.
I take it back. Zach is so right. Do not get on.
Stay off.
Stay off. I bought all the domains for Clubhouse Rehab. I was on there buying up every domain I could find with Clubhouse in the name of it. So I'm going to be
They're all kidding. They wouldn't be on this webinar if they weren't sharers. So Tristan,
it's not what I said, Jeff.
Any parting thoughts, Tristan?
No, man, I just can't wait to see where Clubhouse is a few months from now when Android jumps on board, because that's going to be another massive push if this is still around. So
I think we should keep it only for iPhone users so that we can wipe Android off the face of the earth.
I would love that, but
yeah.
Y'all, Clubhouse has me I bought an iPad. I mean, I've always had an iPhone, right? I bought an iPad. I'm like looking at a Mac right now so I can have it up on the screen because I'm always multitasking.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, if I had this set up as a
yeah.
If I had this set up as a Mac, I could talk via this on Clubhouse. Ooh.
Yep. Good idea.
This
is just my Twitch setup. That's it.
But see how we did that? That's Clubhouse.
That's it.
Thank you guys for being on today. It sounds to me like we're texting in the background that we're going to start doing a monthly session now. Reminder, we're going to come back Thursday afternoon with Ed Stulak. We'll probably bring one or all of these people in to pick on him.
Just shoot
We
the
might
invite
pick
out.
on Ed. And then also, let me also say, Tristan, I think it's next week, the 21st, we're going to do another deep dive on somebody's social. So what do we call that? Taking shots on social. There's going to be a post. Brittany, you're too good.
Rip me apart.
Possible,
I'd love to hear
but here's
it.
the deal. I will post it. Make sure you comment. Let us know if you want us to take shots at your social, which is actually us helping you. And we will absolutely love to do that. And if we have a bunch of people, well, then we'll just put you in line and we'll do more of them. So thank you guys for being on today. Thank you for those in Zoom. Thank you for those on Facebook. We'll see you on Thursday.